And it is done. Well, kind of done. Of course, I'm talking about the Guardian farm. We have completed Iscal 85's Guardian farm, and it's working pretty well, although there is a couple of upgrades that need to be done to it. So as you can see, there are Guardians coming down in here, but there's not a massive amount. And the other problem we've got is because of Thorns, it is going to hurt us. So, but that's alright, that's not really a big deal. What I'm thinking about doing is putting down some potions here to help us keep our health up. That should be a good idea. So the problem at the moment is, I'm assuming, is we've got other mobs spawning somewhere else, because it's just not working when I'm at this level here. So that's why I made my little platform up the top. Now initially I did have a soul sand elevator heading up, but where do guardians spawn? In water. So the guardians are spawning in this small block and heading up and meeting me up the top. So that would have been real bad if, say, I was AFKing or something like that. That would have just knocked me straight down off, and that wouldn't have been good. So the other thing I've started doing is laying down some landscape for our jungle themed build. So as you can see, I used jungle wood for the edges of the mob farm, and I've started putting down some dirt, some bamboo, and some jungle trees. And we tested out a ruin. I don't know how to say that word. Anyway, so this is gonna sort of be what it looks like. We've just done this little bit here to see if it affects the spawning of the guardians at all. So we'll see how that turns out. But other than that, this is a little bit of a different episode. I have noticed that we have been in hardcore survival for around about a month now. So we're just going to check back in, have a look at all the progress we've made, and do a little bit of a tour. I'm hoping to do this at major checkpoints. So like a month for me is pretty big. The next one probably won't be until about 6 months, I think. And that will be an epic amount of progress. So we'll do a quick tour, and I'll talk about some of my ideas and some of the ways I went about building some things. So hopefully you guys like this kind of episode, and we'll see. I might do some more instead of just the 6 month one. If I make it that far, we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's jump into it. So while we're here, we might as well talk about the Guardian farm. So this took a fair while to do. It took, I don't know, about a week and a half, just because my initial design was not amazing. My plan for this, as I've said before, is we're going to be recreating the ocean monument that was down here up above, but utilizing the jungle materials. So our jungle wood, our jungle planks, and some of the stone brick and mossy cobblestone style things, which should be a cool build. I'm really looking forward to getting to that. I am planning it at the moment, so we'll see how it goes. To see how much it did take to build that thing, I've got a lot of the sand down there, and I'll show you that in a second. Ooh, that might be a problem here. That could be our problem. A massive cavern. I wonder how far... Yeah, okay, that may be our problem. I don't even know how I'd go about lighting that up. We'll have a look at that. So you can see how big the build was just by how much I took out. So where's our cobblestone? Our cobblestone, so pretty much all this area here was pretty much level with this cobblestone up the top here. So we took a lot from this. So all the way up there, and then it started tearing down. I think there's another example. The crafting bench is up the top here, and it just kept on coming down. So it was pretty well level, not level, but like it came down quite nicely. So that's just an example of how much sand we actually used to, number one, drain out the Guardian farm, or the ocean monument, and then second, to make the glass that we used for it. So it's a fair bit of work. So I'm pretty excited about this build, and hopefully I get this running the way I want it to, and that should be a good thing. There was a couple of times where I got pretty close to dying. There was once where I jumped off and forgot to put my elytra back on. I know that's a #1 mistake once you get up to this part, rookie error, but I did do it and I totally and utterly forgot and just jumped straight off. I was down to about 2 hearts, I think. It wasn't too good, at all. So next up, we're going to move back to the main base and have a look at the progress that has happened over there. So we'll start off in the first area. So this was basically the first build of this castle area that I did. It was this tower. We did have a little base down on the dock down there, but that had to come down. It was not part of the build whatsoever. It was just something to start off with. So this was my first little build, and it took a little while to get to this point. I'll see if I can bring up a photo of what it did look like maybe about 2 weeks ago. But I'm pretty happy with how it's come out so far, and I really like the way this bottom floor has turned out with the trapdoors around the edges. It looks really nice and I'm happy. It's one of my better builds. The hallways are starting to come, but they're not the best at the moment. Next up is our Nether Room. This came along really well. It was pretty empty for a little while, but with the addition of the dragon skull and the nice little potions brewing area, and you can't forget Steve. Hey Steve, although I have forgotten Steve a fair bit. I haven't spoken to him much. Here, have a fish. Thank you. So this turned out really well. I'm really happy with the build, and it's just going to keep getting better. I want to eventually put a sort of like a, what would you call it? I don't know, a section around the middle of it that sort of just pops out. We'll see how that goes though. Another main build was this enchanters area here that I sort of wanted to make as like the secret garden out the back of the palace, like something important that has been here for ages. Obviously the bookshelves wouldn't have been here for ages, but the rest of it would have been. So this was pretty cool. As I said at the start of every one of my episodes, this is based off of one of my old D&D areas. So this city here is called Serenty. This is the capital city of this continent, which is Dire. And I plan to, hopefully if I can stay alive for long enough, I plan to build up all of Dire. So Serenty's first, and then I want to move on to a dock town called Fife. And I'm really looking forward to that one because I've never really built anything to do with docks. Like you can see down here, we'll go down to my docks now. My docks are pretty plain. I will have to admit they're pretty plain, and I do want to work on this a little bit more because at this point in time, I'm not really happy with it. It's alright, but just not amazing. One of the other projects I'm looking at doing is I want to build a ship coming into this dock. Now this moves out into swampland, so it's pretty hard to believe that a ship would come through, but at the same time it's a good defensive tactic. Now we can see the outside of the castle here if we just come down. I've tried to put a lot of effort into the detail on the sides, but I'm still new to the sort of bigger build stuff, and I've got to figure out another way to make maybe one more layer. So maybe whether that's another trim around the top or whether that's getting rid of that completely and putting something else. I was thinking about putting these sort of these structural, I don't even know what it's called, structural structures, that makes sense, up in the middle here, but I'm not 100% sure yet. Still, I'm pretty happy with how it's coming along, and I've just got a random piece of cobblestone in the air here somewhere. Where is that? There it is. We'll come and get rid of that eventually. But I am happy with how it's coming along. This is the sort of the city wall that's going to come out, and there's going to be another smaller tower here, sort of just a defensive tower, but I really need to go into the nether and get ourselves some wither skeleton heads so that we can make a what's it called, a beacon, because we need a lot of cobble and we need a lot of andesite, and realistically the only way to get that quickly is to have the beacon, but it should look pretty cool. So now earlier on we also had our zombie farm, sorry, and we initially had it Can I hear a skeleton? Maybe. We initially had it in here where it was, we were trying to get them bubble lifted up into this area here. But what I noticed was the zombies were despawning well before they got to the top. So kind of didn't work. So now we just have this little area down here that has another enchanting area and our zombie spawner. So the zombies drop down from up there. There's a little bit of packed ice up there to drop them down, and perfectly on time. And we could just collect it. So that's worked out really well for me. We also have a little smelting system up here for all the armor that they do drop. I have been locking these furnaces to get the experience as well, because everything counts. So that was a really good early game find. So next up now is coming down into sort of the, what would you call this? The market district of our little town of Serenty. And so the idea is that that's going to be built right up, and there's going to be a bit of a castle garden out, and that mountain's going to be relatively chopped. So we've got a little trading area in here with a couple of villages. We did try and do a village breeder, but that went terribly wrong. Like, I don't even know how I messed it up so bad. I just did. But we've got some cheap trades over here because we turned some of these villages using zombies. I don't think this guy is turned. No, he's not. This needs a little bit of upgrading. It really does. I need to redo that because it was just, I just put it there as a placeholder basically, and I really need to redo these huts. My plan with this is that I'm going to dig down maybe another 5 or 6 levels. So when I speak about a level, I'm going to talk about like the whole thing there. So another 5 or 6 of those, and make a big villager trading post, and it'll just spiral down. The next thing after that we've got is our little blacksmith over here, which is relatively new, and I'm absolutely stoked about this build. It was just amazing. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, I'm not the best at building, but I have been trying. I've been watching a lot of tutorial videos and looking at other people's builds and just trying to get some inspiration, and just building in creative as well and seeing what comes up. So this was one that I built in creative, and I really like it. It's come out quite nicely. Next up, we've got our infected auto carrot farm, which does pretty well, mind you. Like, if you're here, it does really well actually. But a little baby zombie got in, and well, he kind of persuaded our friends over here to join the dark side. So he must have brought some cookies along, unfortunately. And then one of the last builds we've got in this area is our little house. So all these little blue ones are going to be little houses. And look, I'm not 100% happy with it. There's some things I messed up, like this side over here. Where is it? Right here. This pokes out too far. But we'll see if I leave it or whether I keep it. But apart from that, it doesn't look too bad. It's not functional at all. It's just purely there for aesthetic. It could be functional actually. It might be. We'll see. But I plan to put a whole bunch of this type of themed houses around the joint. So one more here, and there's another one going in next to it, I believe. So we'll quickly head back, go to sleep, and we'll come back out and have a look at one more thing over this side. And one of the last builds in this area was this little bridge, this little suspension kind of bridge. It comes up across our little man-made lake, which I forgot to talk about. We did make a waterfall, if you can see it over the back there, and we're bringing that down into this little river, not lake, sorry, which is going to come across and sort of split the two in half. So this is going to be the market district, farming district, and there's going to be like a little bit of a slum district up the back, which I don't know exactly how to tackle the slum district just yet. If you have any ideas or thoughts on what a slum would look like in Minecraft, it would be very much appreciated. Oh, hello, buddy. Hello, friend. He's survived the day, sorry. And then we have our little path heading up to, and we have another friend over there who is just not allowed. So we have another path that heads back up to the castle, and we'll head into the garden area. So I'm pretty happy with this area. I'm not sure whether this path is too sort of country, if you know what I mean. Maybe it needs to be a stone path because it's like the capital city of this continent, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So I like it at the moment. We'll see what happens. And so the last thing I really want to talk about is kind of my plans for the Nether. I'm hoping what I can do is sort of open up the area where you first come into and start making my own little transportation network. So clearing out the area, heading off and finding a snow biome, and getting some packed ice, and then using that and a boat to travel quickly through the Nether. I did have plans on breaking bedrock above the Nether, but I don't know what the risks are involved with that. I don't know whether it's just too easy to die or what's the go. So I'm a little bit worried about that. So I'm going to leave that until I can test it a little bit somewhere else. So that realistically, the only other things we've got is the Ender Dragon. The Ender Dragon we did pretty easily. I was surprised. We were lucky. The Enderman did aggro onto the Ender Dragon, which meant he aggroed on them, and he pretty much left me alone. Realistically, he just left me alone. So that was a bit of good luck. Although we were pretty set up for it. We were pretty OP. Another little mention would be our Easter Island. If you haven't checked out that video, I highly suggest going across and having a look at it. It was a cool build and I was really happy with it. So we'll quickly have a look at some statistics and then we'll move on to our last little bit of this video, which is going to be the time lapse of the main structure within the Ocean Monument. Okay, so if we have a look, all up we've played around about almost 6 days total in game, so that's a fair bit. I'm happy with the progress we've made for 6 days. In game, where is it? I think if we look at the F3, we've got, it's day 670, so almost two years in game. When you look at it that way, it's not much progress for that amount of time. We've done big builds and I've done a lot of mining, and I don't usually stay out during the night, so like we just sleep through it pretty quickly. So that explains that. So as you can see, look at 589 times slept in bed, so we're up to 670. So a good, majority of nights we've slept in our beds. So just so we can see, there was the, where was it? Since last death, 581, and where was it? Time played, 581, just to make sure. Because I have heard of other people backing up saves or using hacks to bring themselves back in the game, and I'm sure if you do that, it'd show up here. I'm not 100%, but here we have some other statistics. We've got blazes. We've only killed 57 blazes. We've killed 71 creepers. Let's have a look at zombies. What have we got for zombies? Where that'd be right down the bottom, wouldn't it? 3,753 zombies. As I said, that was our main source of experience for a fair while. So even the guardians are coming up on that. I've seen it before. 383 guardians. And 1 ender dragon. So we've been doing pretty well. Alright guys, as I said, I'm going to leave you with a time lapse of the Guardian farm. So next week, hopefully over the weekend, I can head into the Nether and start farming for some wither skulls, heads. What do you call them? I don't know anymore. I'm so confused. But we will be doing that, and hopefully either Monday's episode or next Wednesday's episode, we will be facing off with the Wither. Now I know I said that was going to happen this week, but I did notice that we were up to our 1 month, and I wanted to sort of use this to just have a look around the base and just remember what we've done in 1 month so far. which is probably the longest I've ever lasted in hardcore Minecraft. So I'm pretty happy with that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you did like the video, give it a like and consider subscribing, because that would be cool. Otherwise, enjoy the time lapse, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.